Before penicillin was discovered, life was difficult. Prior to the discovery of penicillin, the lifespan for the average person was 47 years old. For there was nothing reliable to treat infectious diseases. This is the story of penicillin and how it changed the course of history.
A Scottish physician and microbiologist of the name Alexander Fleming returned from what seemed like a normal holiday vacation in 1928. However, he would soon discover a medicine that would change the world.
I was studying the appearance of staphylococcal colonies. The staphylococcus is the microbe that gives us boils and carbuncles. Now, as bacteriologists, we grow our microbes on little flat dishes. Now we grow them on a jelly which is put on the bottom of the dish here, and the microbes are spread on that jelly with a wire, and after incubation they come up into colonies, which you can see here, quite well with the naked eye. Here are some of them. Well, I was done that with my staphylococci, but I had to take the cover off to examine them under the microscope. See, when you take the cover off, put it under the microscope, it's exposed to the air and you get contamination. Well, I got contaminations, and when I looked at them a week afterwards, there were all sorts of contaminations, but one of them was a mold.
When Sir Fleming returned to his lab at St. Mary's Hospital in London, he found a mold growing on a petri dish of Staphylococcus bacteria. One may just simply look away. However, Sir Fleming took special interest in this mold because it was preventing the bacteria on the petri dish from growing. He discovered later on that this mold produced a chemical defense that killed the bacteria around it and acted as a protective barrier. He called this chemical penicillin. Fleming studied this chemical, so he published his work and sent it to the Medical Research Club. To his bewilderment, everyone in the club shared no interest in his work. Determined, Fleming hired many professionals to help purify the penicillin. However, none of the attempts were successful, and everyone called this study impossible. So Fleming gave up on the idea of purifying the penicillin and moved on with his life.
To show you the original cultivation, which I kept, which I observed penicillin. Here's a mold, two molds, and here are some colonies of Staphylococcus.
In 1937, almost 10 years after Fleming's failed study, two men by the names of Howard Florey and Ernest Chain discovered Fleming's abandoned project. The two men established a team of workers and scientists to dedicate their lives to fulfilling what they called the Penicillin Project. 6 key members of this team were women, and they were called the Penicillin Girls. Florey and Chain were determined to perfect the art of purifying penicillin. However, the process to filter the penicillin from the mold was gruesome and took hard work. The study consisted of a lot of trial and error. After 3 years of relentless work, the group of scientists discovered a long but successful process to produce penicillin. Sadly, the process was inefficient. In 1940, the team officially started animal testing. The team experimented on 8 rats and infected them all with a deadly bacteria called streptococci that would surely kill them all. However, 4 of those rats were also given penicillin. The rats that were given penicillin survived, and those who were only given the bacteria died. This experiment was a success for the team, but there was a slight issue. In order to make even a fingernail of penicillin, you needed to have gallons of mold broth. So, they resorted to whatever could hold the broth, which included bedpans, buckets, and even bathtubs. Eventually, special containers for fermentation were created for the mold broth. The production of penicillin got so low that the scientists started to get penicillin from urine. The process to purify penicillin took a lot of time and a lot of energy. However, it was worth it because it was saving lives.
Today, penicillin is considered to be a normal substance in most medicines and antibiotics. It treats infections, meningitis, syphilis, and other bacterial infections and diseases. However, during World War II, penicillin was in high demand. The lab scaled up the production of penicillin by moving the lab to Peoria, Illinois, and figuring out a way to extract and purify penicillin from urine. Penicillin was considered God's miracle of medicine because wounds would get infected and soldiers would get ill. Antibiotics and penicillin helped to save 50% of wounded and ill soldiers during the war. However, before penicillin, only about 4% of soldiers survived their wounds. Penicillin works by stopping the harmful enzymes from growing and helping good enzymes to attack the bacteria and weaken it. Once the penicillin has broken down the bacteria, the human's body's natural immune system can fight the infection. However, some bacteria have begun to build up an immunity to penicillin because they have come in contact with it so many times. This is very dangerous, so we must use penicillin cautiously.
Penicillin has changed the world in numerous ways. It has given us greater knowledge about health and has reduced risk of infection after surgery. Penicillin was the start of antibiotics, and it led the world into new ways to see science, health, and medicine. Before penicillin was available to the public, numerous people died day and night due to gunshot wounds, open wounds, and even small cuts or scrapes. Then, when penicillin became easy to access, people had a way to fight bacterial infections and, in a way, fight death. Penicillin acts as a barrier when injected into the muscle near the wound, for the chemical that it produces fights the bacteria from growing.
Penicillin has also given us greater knowledge about health. Penicillin today treats many types of bacterial infections. Penicillin also paved the way for the antibiotic era, creating many medicines that we still use today. This medicine has given the world an effective cure for pneumonia, gonorrhea, and rheumatic fever. Penicillin has greatly decreased the amount of lives that are lost due to infections. Back in World War II, penicillin saved about 100,000 men from dying. Penicillin has also greatly increased the life expectancy of men by almost a decade.
Ultimately, humanity faced a silent but deadly enemy, infectious diseases. Little did they know that a chance discovery would revolutionize medicine and save countless lives. The discovery Fleming made on penicillin revolutionized the treatment of infectious disease, allowing mankind to go from waiting and hoping to treating and curing. Sadly, penicillin is slowly becoming obsolete due to infectious diseases slowly becoming immune to this life-changing medicine. The discovery of penicillin opened up numerous pathways for new medicine and antibiotics that continue to save lives today.